The Blitz, sponsored by Moxie Credit Union and Michael Rocha with Atlantic Realty.
Welcome to The Blitz. I'm Frankie Tovar.
I'm Angelina Martin.
That's right. Angie's back in the studio again. No longer a guest host. I think she's officially a Blitz regular. And Angie, we watched a fantastic game. Fantastic if you're a Turlock High football fan at least, because the Bulldogs hosted their rival Modesto High and shut them out 45-0. They sent them back to Modesto with a goose egg.
Yeah, really quick, I do want to say it's time for me to get one of these polos if we can somehow work that out. Just wanted to throw that
Maybe
clip
by
in
season
there.
8 we'll do that, you know?
Yeah, but like you said, if you're a Turlock High fan, this was an amazing game. Turlock, they dominated offensively. They had 498, almost 500 total offensive yards on the night. Compare that to Modesto, who the Bulldogs held to just 124 total offensive yards.
And 28 of those yards in the second half. What a great effort by Turlock's defense. On the flip side, Turlock's offense almost all running, all in the rushing game, 393 rushing yards. What a fantastic effort.
Absolutely. And like you said, this is a storied rivalry that goes back decades between the Panthers and the Bulldogs. But the Bulldogs in this last decade have some ownage on Modesto. They are 9-1 since 2010 against their rivals in the CCAL.
Oh, wow. If you want to check out the latest game in that series entry, well, check it out. We have it for you right now with the Friday Night Highlights. Turlock hits the ground running with its opening play, courtesy of Dalton Lynn, who blasts through a wide open hole for a 23-yard gain. And on the very next play, it's Brock Pasley. With one of his few pass attempts of the game, he connects with Jaden Jackson on the sideline for 40 yards. And that sets up a 1-yard touchdown plunge from Anthony Frias to cap a 5-play scoring drive and put the Bulldogs up by 7, less than 5 minutes into the game.
On Turlock's next possession, Pasley again airs it out, finding a wide-open Miguel Pena, who picks up 51 yards before being taken down at the Modesto 13. Then the Bulldogs go back to the run and back to Frias in what looks like another touchdown. But there's a flag on the play. No biggie, though, because Lynn wants to get it in the end zone, and he does. That's a 6-yard touchdown, and the score is now 14-0 at the top of the second. Woo!
Turlock mixing it up and handing the ball off to Josiah Gonzalez on this 16-yard run. He's down inside of the red zone, and 3 plays later, it's Pasley with a target to David Cruz. Oh, but great pass defense from Alonzo Rodriguez. That makes it 4th and 8, so Turlock goes for a 32-yard field goal. Diego Angel with the boot through the uprights to make it 17-0.
And the Bulldogs, they have a dominant lead, but they want another score before halftime. Here's Frias with a long, hard run. There's a flag on the play, though, so a 44-yard gain turns into a 26-yard gain. It's all good, though. Turlock isn't tripping. Later in this drive, Pasley can't find a receiver, so he just tucks it himself for a 4-yard pickup. And then just 2 plays later, facing a 4th and 3, Turlock hits the Statue of Liberty with Frias, who makes a couple Panther defenders miss en route to a 62-yard touchdown to put Turlock up 24-0. But you know what? We got to take that back.
Take it all the way back. Rewind it.
All the way back, because it's the play of the game. None other than Frias. Who else are we going to give it to? Look at the athleticism here. He's like a cheetah diving through these Panthers. We all know who the big cat of the jungle is on this play.
Big dog.
It's Anthony Frias. Big dog, let's say that. There he goes. Bulldogs with a monstrous lead to take them into the half.
And Turlock opens the second half with a 3-play scoring drive covering 55 yards all on the ground. That's Gonzalez with a 30-yard gain, followed by Frias, who hits the corner and muscles his way to the 10 with a 15-yard pickup. And finally, Gonzalez maneuvers his way through Modesto's defense for a 10-yard touchdown to make it 31-0. Too sweet, too easy.
We're still in the third quarter here, and Turlock's still rolling. Pasley rolls to his right, connects with Luke Marson for 11 yards, and then this 7-play drive ends with a 6-yard touchdown run from Kyle Rumayor, who extends Turlock's lead 38-0.
And with that, the running clock is in effect. That signals the reserves for Turlock, which is why Lynn is in at quarterback. But don't let the position fool you. He's still a runner, and that's a 71-yard touchdown as evidence. Nobody is catching number 2, and that's the final touchdown of the game for a score of 45-0.
And with that stunning victory, Turlock is now 5-2 on the season, and Modesto, they're 1-6.
Oh boy, man, we'll talk more about Turlock's individual players who helped in this effort, but first, let's recognize our sponsors, Moxie Credit Union and Michael Rocha of Atlantic Realty.
Do you need a loan? Then visit Moxie Credit Union over on Gear Road. They have an incredibly friendly staff that can help you get a loan for whatever you're looking for. If it's a boat, a house, a car. I know loans can be tricky, but the people over at Moxie Credit Union, they know their stuff and they will help you out. So go visit them at their office on Gear Road.
And if you're like me, getting into your 30s and thinking about not renting anymore, you want to own a home? Well, hit up Michael Rocha with Atlantic Realty. Whether you're a buyer or a seller, Michael Rocha will assist you every step of the way. As a buyer's agent, he'll make your ideal home a reality. And as a seller's agent, he'll get you top dollar for your home. So contact Michael Rocha right now for more information. You can find him online on Facebook and on Instagram.
Now tonight, Turlock went with their three-headed rushing attack. That was led by, like I said, 3 running backs, but we're going to talk about 2 of them right now. That's Anthony Frias and Josiah Gonzalez. Frias, he had 9 carries on the night for a total of 129 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Gonzalez, he had 5 carries on the night, 65 yards, and a touchdown of his own.
Pretty impressive stuff. The quarterback, Brock Pasley, also impressive. 4 of 6 for 105 yards. They didn't ask him to do a whole lot, but what they did ask of him, he came through big time. But the defense, that was probably the biggest unit, the biggest force of victory for Turlock.
Yes, the Bulldogs had 5 sacks total on the night, and they all came from different players. Jacob Masihi, Everett Johnson, Rios Rogers, Tamir Bullock, and Kyle Rumayor.
That Bulldog defense is a force to be reckoned with, but we'll go back to the offense because it's time for the player of the game. And you mentioned a 3-headed running attack. You mentioned 2 of those running backs. There's 1 left to be mentioned, and that is Dalton Lynn. He really came through big time for the Bulldogs. 6 carries, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That is great productive output right there, and that's why he is the player of the game.
We were prepared all week, and we just come out and give 100%. Coach said that last week Central Fresno came out, or when we played Central Fresno, excuse me, they came out and they ran the show, man. And so we we took that mentality as they took, and we brought it out here and just put on a show. We've been struggling a little bit in the offseason offense, trying to get back together, everybody getting together and trying to be a team. And we're just coming together. I feel like Coach has been putting different plays in, getting different strategies in, and it's been working. I definitely think this is one of the toughest defenses come out of Turlock High School, man. They put on a show every Friday night, you know, stopping people on the goal line, and man, they really saved us sometimes in some of our games too, so I really appreciate our defense. I feel like we're trying to reach bigger goals. Like Coach P says, we're not just looking for the CCAL League Championship. We're trying to go farther and farther in the playoffs and just trying to put on a show for our town.
After this week's win, next week the Bulldogs are traveling to play against Enox, sitting atop the CCAL at 5-2 overall and 2-0 in league play, along with Gregory, who has the same exact record.
That's going to make an interesting matchup between those teams later on in the season. Now, Modesto, their next team is Pittman, who just lost to Gregory, and both these teams are 1-6 overall. We'll be at that game covering Pittman versus Modesto. That means that one team will walk away with their second victory of the season, and we'll be there to catch it. If I had to put my money down, I would put my money on Pittman. I think they're going to come through and get that second win of the season. I know that Lance Weckley, the head coach, is jonesing for that win, and I know the kids want it as well. They came up short in a tough loss last week when we covered them. This week, another loss. So next week, I'm looking for that win. We'll cross our fingers for you guys. But again, you'll have to watch that week and see how it all turns out. You can find that episode next Saturday at turlockjournal.com. And if you're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, you should follow us at Turlock Journal. So until next week, I'm Frankie Tovar.
I'm Angelina Martin.
Good night.